Visa applications to the UK have collapsed, with health and care worker visas down by more than 90%. Student visas are also falling, and many migrants are now asking the question, with all these new rules, rising fees, and restrictions, is the UK still worth it anymore? Let's take a closer look at what's happening and why. So, let's look at the numbers, because they tell the real story. Over the past year, applications for UK visas have fallen dramatically. The biggest shock is in the health and care worker visa route, where applications are reported to be down by more than 90%. That's a huge drop in an area where the UK has relied heavily on migrant workers to keep hospitals and care homes running. And it's not just care visas. Student visa applications have also taken a hit. For years, the UK has been one of the top destinations for international students, but new restrictions on dependents, rising visa fees, and the extra costs of the NHS surcharge are making many young people think twice. Even among groups that once made up some of the highest numbers, like Indian nationals, there's now a clear decline. In fact, universities and employers are already warning that fewer people are choosing the UK compared to places like Canada and Australia, where settlement routes are clearer and the rules haven't tightened as much. All of this paints a picture of a country that is suddenly far less attractive for migrants, whether you're a skilled worker, a student, or someone planning to bring your family over. So why are visa applications collapsing like this? The first big reason is the rule changes. Care workers can no longer bring dependents with them, and that has been a huge blow. For many, the chance to work in the UK was attractive only if they could come with their spouse or children. Without that option, thousands have simply decided not to apply. Then there's the salary threshold increase. Skilled worker visas now require much higher minimum earnings. For roles in health and care, which are already difficult to fill, this new requirement has priced out a lot of potential applicants. On top of that, we've seen visa fees and the NHS surcharge rise sharply. For families, this can add up to thousands of pounds just to get the paperwork sorted, before you've even set foot in the UK. And finally, there's the issue of perception. The UK is increasingly being seen as less welcoming. Compare that to countries like Canada, Australia, or even parts of Europe, where pathways to settlement are faster and more straightforward, and it's no surprise that many migrants are now looking elsewhere. So why exactly are visa applications collapsing? Let's break it down. The first and perhaps most emotional reason is the dependent ban for care workers. For many families, the chance to move to the UK was not just about the job, it was about a new life together. When the government announced that care workers could no longer bring their partners or children, that dream was shattered for thousands. Imagine working long hours in a care home in the UK while your family is thousands of miles away. For many, it simply isn't worth the sacrifice. The second reason is the sharp rise in salary thresholds for skilled worker visas. These new rules mean that many qualified professionals who would have easily met the old criteria are now being locked out. Nurses, carers, and even some junior doctors are suddenly being told they don't earn enough to qualify, even though the UK desperately needs their skills. Then we have the issue of cost. Visa application fees have increased, and the immigration health surcharge, which every migrant must pay, has gone up too. For a family of 4, the total cost can now run into several thousands of pounds. Add in the cost of flights, housing deposits, and living expenses, and the UK is looking less like an opportunity and more like a financial burden. And let's not forget the uncertainty created by frequent policy changes. Migrants talk to each other, they share experiences online, and many are saying the same thing. The UK keeps changing the rules. How can we plan our lives here? Compare that to countries like Canada or Australia, where settlement routes are clearer and less likely to shift overnight. For many, those destinations now feel like the safer bet. Finally, there's the question of welcome and perception. Over the past year, government speeches and media headlines have often painted migration as a problem to be cut down, rather than a contribution to celebrate. That message filters out across the world, and for someone deciding where to build a future, it matters. People want to go where they feel valued, and right now, many believe the UK is sending the opposite message. Now let's look at what this dramatic fall in visa applications actually means for the UK itself. The most immediate impact is on the NHS and the care sector. For years, Britain has relied heavily on international workers to fill critical shortages. With applications for health and care worker visas dropping by more than 90%, many hospitals and care homes are already warning that they won't be able to recruit the staff they need. That could mean longer waiting lists, stretched services, and more pressure on those already working in the system. Then there's the impact on universities. International students bring in billions of pounds every year, not just in tuition fees, but also through housing, local spending, and community growth. With fewer students choosing the UK, some universities are facing serious financial challenges, and the knock-on effect could hit entire towns and cities that rely on student populations to keep their economies alive. Employers in other industries are also sounding the alarm. From hospitality to tech, many businesses depend on skilled migrants to fill roles that local recruitment alone can't cover. If fewer people see the UK as an attractive place to work, it could slow down innovation, limit growth, and even push companies to move opportunities abroad. And beyond the numbers, there's a bigger picture. The UK risks sending a message to the world that it is no longer open to talent, no longer welcoming, and no longer competitive compared to other countries. In the long run, that reputation could be just as damaging as the labor shortages themselves. But it's not just the UK that pays the price. Migrants themselves are being hit hardest by these changes. For care workers, the dependent ban has forced many to make an impossible choice: either come to the UK alone, leaving their families behind, or give up on the move entirely. For those who dreamed of building a new life here together, it feels like the door has been slammed shut. Students, too, are being affected. Many who once saw the UK as the top choice for world-class education now see a country that is too expensive and too restrictive. They're turning instead to Canada, Australia, or even European nations that not only welcome international students, but also offer clearer, faster pathways to permanent residency. And for skilled professionals, whether in healthcare, IT, or other industries, the higher salary thresholds mean that people who are fully qualified and ready to contribute are suddenly being told they don't earn enough. Imagine having the skills the UK needs, but being rejected on paper because the rules have changed. For many migrants, the result is frustration, disappointment, and a growing sense that the UK is no longer the opportunity it once was. So here's the big question. With visa numbers collapsing, stricter rules, and rising costs, is the UK still worth it for migrants? Or will these policies end up backfiring, leaving the NHS short of staff, universities struggling for income, and families looking elsewhere for a future? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you think the UK is making immigration too difficult? Or is this the right step to control numbers? Drop your opinion in the comments below. And if you want to stay updated on the latest UK immigration news, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more. Disclaimer: this video is for informational purposes only. It does not constitute legal or immigration advice. Always check the latest UK Home Office guidance or speak to a qualified immigration advisor for advice tailored to your situation.